Do you struggle with binge eating, overeating, impulsive eating, feeling the need to have sugar, feeling the need to have fast food, processed food, high sugar foods, high fat foods in your life? Or maybe just to unwind from a hard day at work, from a hard week at work, from a stressful event, from negative emotions like stress and anxiety and depressive thoughts and emotions? Is that your way of coping through negative emotions? This is the realization that I came to going from 193 pounds down to about 156 pounds at my leanest. I was damn near obese, and I realized I had a binge eating problem because I got down from 193 down to about 170 pounds. And I realized, dude, for the past 3 to 6 months, I've been at a plateau with my weight loss. I've been stuck at 170. I looked back on progress pictures and I was like, dude, I've made zero fucking progress in the past 6 months. I've been yo-yo dieting. I've been going up and down in terms of weight. I've been going up and down in terms of my consistency with the diet and the gym. What's wrong? It feels like I'm wasting my time. It feels like I shouldn't have even been going to a gym or been on a diet because I'm at the same place from when I started. And I realized that the way I've learned to cope with negative emotions throughout my childhood and throughout my life was through food. Any stressful event, any anxious thought, any depression, any hard day at work, any embarrassment, any rejection, any time I felt bad, which, you know, some days you just have a bad day. But I learned to distract myself from those negative emotions through food, through sugar, through Taco Bell steak quesadillas. And moving to Hawaii at 21 and a half from the Bay Area was kind of stressful. Work, life, relationships, especially money, just figuring it out over here, it was low-key stressful. And there were a lot of times food was the one thing that made me feel okay. And I came to this realization that, dude, if I want to continue getting in better shape and I want to continue being holistically healthy and fit, I can't have this habit anymore. I've attached a response, which is eating processed food, to the stimulus of feeling bad. And it's not good. It's not going to serve me. It's not going to help me get in shape. So I tried cutting out little by little. And I came to a realization that this is fucking hard. This is hard. I've never done this before. It was like, I remember going to bed one night and feeling the need to have my Taco Bell, feeling the need to get my fix, feeling the need to, dude, it's just one Taco Bell, it's gonna be okay. It always feels like that with addiction and bad habits, doesn't it? You just need that one hit, you just need that one fix, you just need to get this one time and tomorrow you'll start over. But that keeps you in this vicious cycle, because if you do it, if you're gonna start tomorrow, there's always gonna be another tomorrow. There's always gonna be another next time. And I went to bed that night and I was crawling, and it was all I could think about is I needed my Taco Bell. It's like I was almost feeling withdrawal symptoms almost, which is crazy to think about when it comes to food. But you start to realize that these are drugs, that these fast foods, processed foods, these are drugs. If it's making 70% of America overweight or obese, and people have trouble coming off these foods, then it has a drug-like effect. We should label these drugs. We should label these poisons. These are not okay to be given our children. These are not okay to be feeding ourselves. This stuff is not okay. But I was going to bed that night and I was like, I felt the need to just go get my fix, and I forced myself to go to bed that night, and I told myself everything's gonna be okay. Dude, it's not that big of a deal. No matter how hard this feels, no matter how big of a withdrawal symptom you're experiencing right now, just go to bed and you'll be okay. There's no way you're gonna die because you didn't have Taco Bell. And I really had to rationalize this for myself, and I forced myself to go to bed that night. And I go to bed that night, and the next morning I wake up and everything feels a little bit better. It feels like I beat this craving that was haunting me my entire life. But it hadn't ended then. Continue to struggle without it. But the key is, I continue to struggle with that binge eating problem. But the key is, I went from, okay, having Taco Bell 3 times a week down to once a week. Okay, now down to once every 2 weeks. Okay, now down to once a month. And I continue to level it up this way, little by little. Just tell myself, okay, let me go a little bit at a time without these foods. And the thing is, you build up natural stress tolerance. That's the thing I've learned from cutting out all the vices. I've cut out everything. I'm going to a 100% whole food diet, cutting out seasonings, cutting out anything artificial, cutting out the energy drinks, cutting out caffeine past 9 a.m., just going to straight black coffee. I don't want these artificial things. I want to see how far I can push my discipline. But one thing I've learned through getting even leaner, building even more muscle, is, dude, you build up natural stress tolerance to life and whatever stressful event happens. You build up I've come to understanding now that stress is good. These negative emotions are not negative. They are just emotions. And if you have an emotion and you label it as negative, emotions lead to thoughts, which lead to actions, which lead to habits, which lead to forming habits around those actions that you took. And if you have an emotion and you label it as negative, then you're going to have negative thoughts around it, which leads you to take negative, unproductive actions, which lead to negative, unproductive habits. So anytime I realized that I felt stressed or anxious or depressed, I learned to cope with it through, I had negative thoughts around it, that stress is bad, anxiety is bad, depression is bad, which led to me watching Pornhub, which led to me smoking weed, which led to me drinking a little bit of alcohol, smoking a little bit of nicotine, enjoying some fast food, procrastinating on the things that were stressing me out instead of handling them. So I had negative thoughts, which led to negative actions, which led me into a negative routine, which led me down to negative habits. And now I've come to the realization that stress is merely an emotion. And I have a positive relationship around stress and anxiety and depression and sadness now. If I experience those emotions throughout the day, those are merely signs. Anxiety is a sign that I'm experiencing a fear of the unknown. I'm encountering something I've never encountered before, whether it's with my business, some challenging thing, whether it's going to approach people, socially approach people in public, and I have some anxiety around that, whether it's around the gym and entering a bodybuilding competition. There was some anxiety about around signing up for one and announcing it on social media. But now I've come to the realization that anxiety is just fear of the unknown. It's just not known yet, so I have to go make it known. That tightness in my chest, that drop in my stomach, it's not bad. I don't have to think negative thoughts around it. And I've reframed it into anxiety is good. It means I'm stepping out of my comfort zone. And that positive relationship with anxiety has led me down to positive actions around anxiety. I step into the anxiety now. I had the bodybuilding competition sign up. My coach gave me a whole plan, and I was like, at first I was overwhelmed and felt a little bit anxious a little bit. And I was like, dude, how am I gonna manage this with work and life? And this is gonna be a whole lot. But I was like, dude, let me just step into it. Let me do it for like 2-3 weeks and not overwhelm myself and not overthink it. Let me just do the first action step in front of me and see where we go from there. And I step into it, and now it's 2 or 3 weeks in, and it's not even that bad. It's just a part of my normal life to get 15K steps in, to follow this rigid meal plan that I thought was gonna be super rigid, to follow this 6-day training split. I just stepped into it, man. And the more you have a positive relationship around this stuff, the more positive thoughts you have around stress, anxiety, depression, these so-called negative emotions, the more positive actions you take when you feel those emotions, you strengthen this positive self-talk, the inner winner, and you start to have a positive relationship around these emotions. And as soon as anxiety hits now, maybe there's anxiety or stress or a depressive thought or negative self-talk happens, I just have a moment of self-awareness. I'm like, oh, my brain or my body is experiencing stress right now. It's experiencing a depressive thought. Is that real? Is that like in reality? Or is that just a random emotion coming in my mind for some reason and me thinking a certain way? And I catch that thought, I catch my brain going down that loop, and I'm like, no. Enforce the positive self-talk. And I talk to myself out loud. I'm like, no, Ali, that's bullshit. Dude, you're fucking killing it. Look at everything you've done in the past. You've cut out the vape, you've cut out the weed, you've cut out alcohol, you've cut out social media. You're building this business up. You're working a full-time job. You're in the best shape you've ever been in. Dude, why are you listening to that negative ass self-talk in your head? I talk to myself out loud. And when you talk to yourself out loud and you give yourself the, dude, yeah, I fucking got this, bro. Look at everything else I've done up until now. I fucking got this, man. I'm on the treadmill today and I'm 30 minutes in and my brain is trying to talk me out of it. I'm like, no, dude, I fucking got this. And I push myself through it. Point being, I formed a healthy relationship around these negative emotions. And that's what you need to do if you're encountering binge eating. You think that the stress, the anxiety, the negative thoughts, you've formed a habit of giving into fast food, processed food, etc., because you think those are negative. But just you label them as emotions. You come to self-awareness. Hey, I'm experiencing an emotion right now. Stress is good. It means I have more cortisol in my blood right now. They've come to a realization that, long-term stress is bad, but short-term stress can actually be pretty good because it heightens your focus, it heightens your energy. It spikes cortisol, so you're more motivated to go do something. So I've come to a realization now that, stress is good. Stress is good. Means I will use this energy to go take action on my goals. Anxiety is good. It's fear of the unknown. Let me go make it known. A depressive thought means that I'm doing something wrong. What am I not doing right? Am I not being grateful throughout the day? Am I making sure the foundations of my health and fitness, my sleep, my sunlight, my daily activity, my nutritious food, are those on point? Am I socializing with people? If not, then that's why I'm feeling depressed. These are merely signs. These are merely just emotions. Doesn't mean you have to act in a certain way. And if it feels like you need to, it's just because you've strengthened that over years on end. Hopefully my mindset around the binge eating and what conclusions I've came to can help out. But I would say the action steps, if you experience emotional eating, binge eating right now, number one is just that self-awareness. Number two is catching the negative self-talk, not letting yourself go down a spiral of negative self-talk and negative thoughts around the emotion that you're feeling. And then inducing positive self-talk, being like, no, dude, you got this shit. You can do without this alcohol. You can do without this drugs. You can go without this Taco Bell. And then enforcing a little bit of willpower in that moment to not give in to the craving, or to give in to half of the craving, or to give in to that craving but less times per week. Baby stepping yourself out of the binge eating problem that you have right now. And I would say that's it, man. Is that self-awareness, being aware of the negative self-talk, enforcing positive self-talk, using a little bit of willpower to get over that hump. Take it day by day, man. If you have any questions, reach out to me, Coach X Ali. More than happy to help out. Let's get it.